Well, one of the big news events of the new year is going to be Donald Trump's inauguration as President of the United States. It's going to take place on the 20th of January. And one of the key donors to his campaign, the man who is now advising him on Indian affairs and who got Indian Americans excited about the Trump phenomenon, is business tycoon Shalabh Kumar, who heads the Republican Hindu Coalition in the United States. He's also chairman of the India-American Advisory Council and joins us here in New Delhi tonight, here in the studio with us. Mr. Kumar, thank you very much for coming in. Tell us, what brings you here? Because there's a lot of speculation of a meeting very soon between Prime Minister Modi and President-elect Trump. Are we going to see a meeting soon?
Well, that I cannot tell.
Are you working towards that?
We have a very aggressive agenda in the United States, very aggressive. For example, we want to change the tax code in the U.S. in the first 90 days itself. So domestic agenda is very big, but in the context of increasing trade between U.S. and India, which is sitting at a measly $100 billion a year with the size of the two economies, that during the first term of President Trump, we expect it to grow to $300 billion a year. And
that's quite a jump.
That's a fair amount of jump, but it will accelerate even more exponentially during the second term, which I'm already predicting, during the second term of President Trump.
At one of the events that you organized, where Donald Trump came and in fact campaigned towards the end of his campaign, he set up Ki Baar Trump Sarkar, and taking off from what Prime Minister Modi said, do you think the two men would get along and would have a good chemistry the way, in a sense, Prime Minister Modi and Barack Obama, they certainly seem to personally get along very well? Do you see something similar between these two?
Oh, this is going to be much better than that, and this is not going to be just optics. I hate to say that on a foreign land because it's against protocol.
Optics?
There was optics, but in real action, you know, there's really no meeting of the minds whatsoever in terms of a real action, real legislation, real executive orders. So, you know, it was mostly optics. But here they are going to be real action. We hope to have the legislative barriers that are in place right now to have defense procurement, to have technology transfer, to have the LNG sanctioned, because India needs energy, a lot of liquid natural gas.
So you see a greater meeting of minds between Donald Trump and Narendra Modi than you saw between Narendra Modi and Barack Obama, which you said was just
not necessarily the two personally themselves, even though that's important.
But just on agenda, you mean?
Prime Minister Modi made sure that he's quite competitive. He made sure that he is one of the very first ones to call President-elect Trump to congratulate him. And so, you know, that did happen.
But let me ask you a personal question, because the US election was so keenly followed, and you know, the media got it all wrong there, right? Everyone thought that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Were you at all surprised when Donald Trump won? Not, you know, even a little bit, even though I know you were confident and you were supporting him and you donated so much money to his campaign, nearly $1 million or more, I believe. But was there any element of surprise when it finally happened?
That's a good question. My daughter, Manasvi, who was with me, she had taken 6 months off for her profession. She happens to be in Bollywood, Manasvi. And she had some doubts, but I never had any doubts whatsoever. I mean, you know, really never had any doubts. I thought he's going to be over 300 electoral votes, and he got eventually 306 electoral votes. There was no doubt in my mind at all. And the media, you know, tends to be leftist, not only in the United States, but in India as well. I actually called CNN as Clinton News Network instead of cable news network. And you know, that day itself, on the day of the election, in the morning, I think exit polling, they were giving 85% chance that Hillary will win.
Yeah, and then it swung the other way.
At 7:30 in the evening, they were still predicting that Hillary will
But let me ask you, how much does Donald Trump really understand about India? Again, at the same event that you organized, at that big event that he spoke at, my colleague Srinivasan Jain went to interview Donald Trump that day, and you met him. And one of the things Donald Trump said to him is that, I love India, I love Hindus. Well, India is not just Hindus. India is Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists. It's a multi-religious country. One got a sense at that time that maybe Donald Trump doesn't entirely understand what India is and what it stands for and what it's about.
I don't think that is correct. He totally understands. He understands India, Hindus and Muslims and Jews and Christians better than any other leader in the world, in the past, in the present, except only other person I will say is Newt Gingrich. And no, he understands this very well. I mean, he is attending a Republican Hindu coalition rally on October 15th.
So he's going to love Hindus.
And of course he has to state Hindus, and he does. He does love Hindus. He has personally stated to me in the very first meeting I had with him that he believes Hindus are very peaceful people, quote unquote. You could quote that. And he had that impression. He has spent time in India. His children went to schools where there were quite a few Hindu students. So he does know about that. I mean, there is nothing wrong with saying that he loves Hindus. It doesn't mean that he's saying he doesn't love others.
But he doesn't seem to love Muslims very much, because he wants to put restrictions on their travel, something which you have supported in the past. Do you still want him to do that?
Well, it's not really a question of religion. It's not a question of whether you are a Muslim and that's why you should be putting a ban on. It should be a question of where you are coming from. If there is a high probability.
Which country you mean?
Yes, where are you coming from? If where you are applying for visa from, where you've been, where you have traveled. In all your visa applications you are asked the question what countries you have traveled to in the last 3 years or last 6 months. So when the security agencies are able to do your extreme vetting, which is necessary. After all, the prime responsibility of a president of the country, number one oath you take, is to protect the lives of its citizens.
Well, Mr. Kumar, you're saying it's not about religion. It certainly seemed to be that way during the campaign. Whether it turns out to be something else is something we'll have to wait and see. But it's been great to talk to you. We wish you all the best as you try to increase trade ties between India and the United States, and certainly try to bring India and Donald Trump closer. Thank you very much for coming in tonight. Thank you.